Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Talks Pod, where today we're going to be talking about the ICCS Test Championship final between India and Australia. Today I got my special friend with me, Vishakh. So Vishakh, any thoughts on the game?
I don't know where to begin again, man. Um, just disappointment is the first word I can say. It just sucks, man, because everyone knows that we're a much better team than this. Everyone knows that there's a reason why we were in the final. I think, first of all, I just want to say that I think the Test Championship final, in a lot of ways for me, is probably bigger than the World Cup because it means that you've played the highest level of cricket consistently for 2 years and the hardest form of the game as well. So, it's the biggest I think it's the biggest test for a team. If you can consistently play at that level, that high, and then you reach the final, then I'm sorry, but you should be able to play better than how we've played. I think Australia did their bit. They've shown that they're number one and they won deservedly. But I don't think we played like the number two team that we were ranked at the beginning of this test, man. So, yeah, just disappointed.
So coming to the game, do you think we were favourites to win? Because of the form we've
Not
been on
fake,
over the
not
last couple of years in terms of our test match cricket. Coming here last year, winning at Lords, winning at Oval. We popped a real good fight then. Why do you think that fight was not here now?
I don't know. I hate to say it, but I just feel like in these crunch games, in these knockout games, for some reason, we just don't play to our potential. I'm kind of failing to understand. I know we didn't have Bumrah, but then they didn't have Hazelwood, so it wasn't like there was a mismatch. I feel like they had their players, we had our players, and both teams on paper, I feel like, head to head, it was good competition. So I don't know what happened, bro. There's so much to say. I really do think that it was our batting that let us down. I don't think we bowled that badly. In fact, I think we bowled even better than Australia did. The line and length that we were bowling, causing them trouble. I just think that they negated it well. And, they just played to their best of their abilities. I think something just happens to us, especially when we're chasing in crunch games, that we just panic. I know 280 was tough on the last day for any team, but I do believe that we could have taken it down, to the end of the day if we really did try, but I don't think we even tried. Yeah. We just didn't try hard enough, man. It was just poor shot selection and everything, bro, yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, sorry, I do think that, not favourites, but I would just split it halfway and I'd say 50-50. I wouldn't say Australia were favourites or we are. Neutral venue, it's different for both teams to play here. I just think they played better. That's it, man.
Do you think we made a mistake when it came to the toss? Do you think we should have batted first, or do you think Rohit Sharma made the right call by saying let's bowl and field first and see if we can bowl them out? Because I think that was the plan. We got those early 3 wickets, but then after that, when Head came to the crease, when Head came to the crease, and Smith, when they were there, they just took the game away from us.
Exactly. Yeah. So until we got those 3 wickets, it looked like it was still even. So, I wouldn't say it's about the toss. I don't think in these games the toss matters so much, man. You've just got to make the most of the situation that you have. Losing the toss and batting second as well, I think would have churned up the same result. It's just a matter of executing your skills. And hats off to... I do think that's where, if we have to think about where we really lost the game, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like Smith and Head, that partnership, was where we really kind of lost the game. And then I think Alex Carey, wasn't it, that hit a half-century after as well.
Yeah, he was close. He got to 48.
Yeah, so I do think that's where we lost it. Steve Smith is just a legend, man. Like, that's what you call... When you have the debate about best players in the world, he played like he's the best in the world, Like, the patience and the concentration and no loose shots, nothing like that. I think it was that. And Travis Head's just been on top form anyway. So I think those two really took the game away from us. And then after that, we were just continuously on the back foot. I don't think we ever got in a position where apart from one session yesterday, maybe, I don't think we got in a position where we can confidently say that, no, we can go for this win. It was always one step forward, two steps back kind of scenario. So, yeah.
Well, it's frustrating for me because it's like two finals. India has been in two of these finals. We're the only team that's been in two finals and we lost both. And it's the way we lost. The first time we played New Zealand, I remember we didn't pop a fight, and New Zealand completely outclassed us in terms of bowling. I feel like our bowling did let us down, but then I look at our batting, and I think our batting even let us down even more because no one like stood up. There was no leadership in this whole series, in this match. I didn't see any leaders. I didn't see Rohit Sharma putting up a fight or making any changes. Kohli did okay with the bat in the second innings. Pujara looked lost in both. It was just like Gill after this IPL form. You know, you thought he would be outstanding for this, but even him, he couldn't get going. So it's just like there's a lot of questions now raised for this India side. And in terms of what we do, I know you said earlier about Bumrah not being there, but you know, look at our bowlers. We should be putting up a better fight. This is, you know, we can't use the excuse Bumrah wasn't there because India team has so many more bowlers. So what?
No, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying that before going into this test, we could have said, all right, that was, and I'm sure that would have made a difference because I don't think Umesh Yadav, you know, I don't think anyone would pick him as a first choice in the team. With all respect to him, but there was so many loose deliveries, and you know, it was frustrating watching him bowl at times. Even though he got a few wickets, but you know, you're going to bowl that much, you're bound to get a couple wickets. So I'm not using it as an excuse, but I'm just saying that, like you said, it's more the batting because the batting is our strength.
Yeah.
And I feel like we bowled better than we batted. You know.
I just think there's a lot needs to be fixed. I don't know how we're going to go about this, but what do you see India doing now, like with this team? Do you see them keeping it as the same, or do you go them back to the drawing board and then looking at all the good players from IPL, looking at all the things from the India leagues, and do you think it's time to restructure this team, or do you think the players are not up to scratch anymore? Like, how does India get their hands on the ICC trophy? It's been a long time since we've won one. So it's like World Cup is now coming up. The focus is on that. Are you gonna like? How do we go about this team? Like, are they capable of winning an ICC trophy? Are they capable? Are they strong enough?
100%. That's where the frustration comes from, isn't it, bro? I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here discussing this, being so disappointed. Why does disappointment come? Because you've got expectations. Why do you have expectations? Because you know that a team can deliver. We've got the top players, man. No one will be able to change my mind about Indian batting, just in general. I'm not even talking about this current team. I'm talking about just in general. We have and always will have the best batting in the world. The point is that it's all good saying that. It's all good Shubman Gill smashing it around. I think he was unlucky, to be honest. I think he could have played much better. That ball that he left in the first innings, who else got out? Was it Pujara that got out with the same delivery? I think it was, wasn't it?
Not sure how Pujara got out, but let's have a look.
It was that it pitched in the exact same place and just nipped in and hit the top of off. And I think it was Pujara. It was Pujara, yeah. Look, he got bowled by Cameron Green.
Yeah,
and it was the exact same delivery. So Gill's dismissals, I wouldn't have a go at him for that. I think that he's still so young and he's just come into the side and, you know, he's still fresh. So I wouldn't say... I think we've got the players, but we just don't have the mental focus. For some reason, like if we just want to talk about today, for example, or since yesterday, Rohit Sharma was playing so well, all right? He wasn't hesitating. He was pulling. He was going over the boundary. He was piercing that gap. Why play a little cute paddle shot? What's the point? Why do that? Why even... This is the problem. I think we have this again and again with all of our batsmen. When we start playing well, whether it's Kohli or Sharma or anyone, when we've hit a few, we don't know how to resist the temptation of just carrying on hitting. I think we just get carried away and we want to entertain the crowd. And we just think, all right, I can hit this as well. All right, let me try this. But when you look at someone like Steve Smith, for example, that's the blueprint of test batting. No matter how, even if he's got a century, he's still going to stick to his basics. And he's still only going to touch the ball if it's a loose one, you know. So I think we've got the players. I don't think that much restructuring is needed. I just think it's hard to say. I'm just so disappointed. I think Sunan Gavaskar said the same thing. I just read it on Instagram before I came on. Sorry. That they're just clueless. Rohit Sharma didn't need to play that shot. He's just got out, and then Pujara thinks he can play a little. And don't get me wrong, if he had connected that and it had gone over the keeper and gone for 4, I would have sat here and said the same thing, that it was still a careless shot. Even if it went for 4, I would have been sitting there worried, please don't play these shots. It's not needed. Kohli going for that, he was on 49, and you kind of know, I mean, I'm the biggest Kohli fan in the world, but it is a fact, and it's quite evident again and again. You see it when he's on 49, when he's on 99, when he's coming up to his personal milestones. He panics. He wants to get there quickly. He doesn't have the patience. That ball was just not meant to be touched today. Not in the position that we were in. Everything was dependent on him. And he goes for that ball. And it's just easy. To be the best player in the world, there or thereabouts, it shouldn't be that easy to get you out. I'm sorry. But it shouldn't be. I think Rahane played well. And then obviously after Kohli's gone, it's kind of over anyway. So, Gill got unlucky. That was not out. What's your thoughts on that catch, by the way, yesterday? I think that kind of started it off for us, man. Yeah.
I know what you mean. But just to, touch on a few of the points that you made, they were really good points. Not playing all these, abysmal shots when they didn't need to. Do you think it's because they coming off the IPL, IPL's crowd entertaining, fast paced, they kind of lost their discipline in this test match. They didn't really adapt after playing so much white ball cricket and then coming to play a big red ball match with very little preparations. Remember, a lot of these players are just flying from India with very little prep, probably no prep, and then adapting straight from white ball cricket to red ball cricket, and then not having that discipline. Seeing the ball coming, their eyes lit up. They like I'm gonna hit the shot, and then they probably edge it, and then it goes down to slips for catch, or they probably mistime it, or they're probably not in the right state of mind. But then you can say the same thing about Australia. Australia players were also in the IPL and they flew over as well. So it's probably Australia were probably more disciplined, I'll say. I think discipline was the key, like Steve Smith, like you said earlier. I think resilience. Steve Smith was very resilient. He's a naturally born gifted test player. And I think with Kohli, he had to work hard to become a very good test player. And he's not as gifted as Smith in terms, but he's very good. Kohli's probably on the same level as Smith when it comes to test. It's just on the day, Kohli did panic. You could see because he had so much pressure. He knew it was a big final, and you could see he had no support from.
Yeah, we don't do well under pressure. You know, it's so many times again and again. I know we've pulled off some brilliant wins over the last few years, especially when Kohli was captain. I think our test cricket just went on another level. So I'm not taking anything away from, I'm still thinking about, Kohli versus Pakistan. That's still going to be but it's he's giving us those moments, but there's no excuse. If we had got out to a good board, we wouldn't be sitting here, bro. If it was a nice ball outside off stump, fair enough. If, I don't know, Nathan Lyon was bowling and it pitched on leg stump and it bounced and, was coming on to the off stump and it caught him by surprise, for example, like the first innings when he got out with that irregular bounce. You just kind of have to say, all right, fair enough, But this wasn't one of those situations when you can say fair enough for these batsmen, To go back to your point about the IPL, if it was a young, experienced team, then I do think that you can have that excuse of no prep and, coming out of the IPL. But I don't think for Sharma, for Kohli, for Rahane, for Pujara, at least for these top 4, with that much experience, no excuses, man. Not today. Not the way we played. If we had lost by 50, 60 runs, then fair enough. But not the way we played today. And yesterday as well. I don't think we need that much prep. They've been there before. They've played enough matches. That should account for something,
And just that's a good point, and it's just got my mind going back because I was thinking about the last championship final when India was playing New Zealand. The conditions were very different. When we were playing them, it was a very over cloud, I think it was a bit damp, it was a bit cooler, it was much colder, and now summer's in full swing in London, as you know. It's touching almost 30 degrees, blue skies. It should be suiting to India's conditions even like more than Australia's.
Exactly,
I think.
and and I think the pitch was getting easier to bat on as well, wasn't it?
I think
Like
so.
it
It
wasn't
looked like that.
misbehaving. Yeah, it wasn't misbehaving. Um, yeah, and we didn't have like Jimmy Anderson coming up
Yeah.
to us at bowling swing and really troubling us. You
Hmm.
know, our our once again, our dismissals are, we're just kicking ourselves. Like, every batsman is so disappointed after getting out. You can see it on their faces because they know they weren't brilliant deliveries. So I think we just gave it to Australia, bro. I don't think whether or not there was ever a test match played at the Oval at this time of the year, whatever you want to come up, whatever reasons, excuses, someone wasn't fit, Rahane had an injury on his finger coming out of the IPL. But these players are well-established players, so I think we can expect that much for them to at least put up a fight.
Yeah.
Australia's no joke. They're a brilliant team. So in the end, it's fine if they won. I'm happy for them because they're great. But just remember that it's number one and number two playing.
Yeah.
We didn't play like the number two team.
I know what you mean, and that's why it's so frustrating. My heart is still like broken from we didn't put up a fight, and I was so excited for this game. I was like, India has this. The the weather's great. We got such a strong side. Everyone looks like in good form. Gill looks like he's in the form of his life. So excited to watch him play. Kohli, he's coming off a back. He finished the IPL strong. He looks like he's in good form. It's just like we didn't show up. The team that I expected to show up didn't show up, and that's what's frustrating. It was like two different teams in my eyes when I saw India play, and that's why I'm just like. Then I just look at last year's final when we played New Zealand, completely different conditions, and then India said the conditions weren't as they should be, and now the conditions are as they should be. Yet India don't perform, and Australia knows how to win finals. If you look at all ICC tournaments, Australia have won the most finals, and so they know how to do it. It's just frustrating. What does India have to do to win an ICC trophy? It's been a long time. I know Australia won the T20 World Cup back in UAE previously, and they won the last World Cup back in the previous one in 2015. So they know how to win finals. It's just like India panics. We know how to get to a final, but we panic at finals, and I've noticed that to be a knowing trend. Like we did it against Pakistan in the ICC 2017 Champions Trophy, and we did it last time against New Zealand. It's just, I just don't know what to say about this India team. It's just, I'm lost for words. I'm really lost for words.
Yeah.
I think
and look at the names.
Yeah.
Look at the names, bro. Like when you've got a guy that's scored 3 double centuries in ODI cricket, when you've got the highest runs in the world.
Yeah.
Just those two alone, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohl, if you've got in your team, you should be watching. You should be, waking up in the morning thinking, we've got this.
Yeah.
We can trust our players. There should be a level of trust. Like when I'm watching Steve Smith bat, again, going back to him, when I'm watching him bat, I'm basically waiting for him to make a mistake because I know that it's almost impossible to get him out. No team has been able to do it. Whereas if you look at Virat Kohli, keep probing him outside the off stump, he's going to be tempted because naturally he's quite aggressive, so he's going to be tempted to play that cover drive. What can you say, man? We've been here again and again. I think it's great that we keep getting to these finals. I think that's a testament to how great we are. I don't agree entirely with this notion that great teams are the ones that win the trophies necessarily, which is why my first point was that, this is about 2 years of top cricket to come here. So I feel like in a way, we've already done our job. We just didn't finish it off in the end. It's not like a 6-week, 2-month tournament where we just played well. This is like the long shot. This is the long haul. And I really wish that we'd just finished it off the way we've been playing because, I would just put up a fight, basically, bro. I'm glad that, like I said, Sunil Gavaskar, I just read, he's not happy. I think Ravi Shastri even said Apparently, Rohit Sharma said in the press conference that we should get a few weeks to prepare for this, like 25, 30 days. And then apparently Ravi Shastri said that if you want 25 days to prep, then you should leave the IPL early. As if to say that it's not an excuse. And I think you and I are saying the same thing, that at that level, you've just got to be switched on, man. You've got to play at your best. Not look for fancy little paddles and I don't know. It was Pujara's shot, I'd say, and Kohli's shot today, which disappointed me the most.
Yeah.
Pujara's shot was very out of character. I know he plays that, but he's been here. He's been playing for Sussex, I think it is.
Yeah.
For the last couple of months. So it's not even about the conditions. It's all in the mind. I think all of this is in the mind, and we keep losing when it comes to our mental game. All our players, just crushing under the weight of everyone's expectations.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And back to your point about Kohli and bowlers teasing him outside the offside stump. I remember him in 2018 when India were coming over for the Test series against England, and he prepared himself to play, against Jimmy Anderson swinging a ball against the offside stump, and how he was playing, outside his crease, a bit more closer towards the bowler, so he can navigate so he can navigate from the swing. And it's just like, since then I haven't seen him do that kind of technique, and he was very successful in that in the 2018.
He was, series. He overcame that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was the one place. This was the one place that he couldn't perform at the top level, and Anderson was the one bowler that would always get him, and he did really well. Obviously, it wasn't swinging that much in this one, and most of the deliveries were back of length.
Yeah.
It was mostly short stuff. So I get that, why he wasn't standing that far out, on off stump or whatever. But again, bro, we need to remember he didn't get out to that ball. He didn't get out to a swinging ball or one outside off stump, that was short or bounced awkwardly or whatever. He went for something that he shouldn't have. He's only got himself to blame.
Yeah.
He went for that and he shouldn't have gone for that, man.
So what do you think is next for this India team then? Do you think with Rohit Sharma, do you think he should be captain still? Because a lot of people were saying captaincy should have gone to Rahane. So there's a debate going on right now, and it's going all around India. Should Sharma stay as captain, or should he give it over to Rahane? So I want to put that question to you. What do you think it should be?
I wouldn't mind a change of captain. I still think that Kohli gave up, whatever happened, he should have been captain for a lot longer, because I think he still is the best option for us in this team as captain. I think when he was captaining our test team, our bowling was just more attacking. It was very Dhoni-like. It was very... I feel like Rohit Sharma kind of takes a step back. He's not that proactive in his captaincy. He doesn't try different things, and just seems, because he's a laid-back character. Yeah, to summarise, I just think that I wouldn't mind a new captain. Rohit Sharma, he's good, but I don't think he's making a big difference. I think he's just filling in shoes. He's a good captain. He's a good guy to have as a leader, as one of the senior players. But again, he's not setting an example. He's not trying unorthodox, different things in the field. And that partnership, again, between Smith and Head, I think they just ran away with it. They were way too comfortable against this attack. And I just want to mention as well, that reminds me, not picking Ashwin.
Oh, okay, that's a big point.
Yeah, that's a big point. I think bigger than any injury or whatever, I think we should have picked him, man. I think that was a big, big mistake. The commentators were all right. I think we just selected for the first innings. We didn't think far ahead. Doesn't matter, whatever the pitch, but Ashwin is a class bowler. You cannot leave him out. Even if the ball isn't spinning that much, you never know. If we had him, then maybe Rahane and Kohli would have been under less pressure, knowing that there's Ashwin to come. And Ashwin could have helped get us the last 40, 50 runs. I'm sure they're calculating all these things in their mind, that we need to push and get, try and make 150 together, for example. But with one less batsman, Bharat isn't really someone established that you can rely on. So with one less batsman there, I feel like that would have also played on their mind. More pressure to do the work themselves. Whereas if Ashwin was there, I think both think in bowling, definitely he would have troubled them, I think, for sure. You know, the way Jadeja was bowling into the rough, the way it was spinning, the way it was turning yesterday, bro. I think Ashwin would have made a difference. So that was a big blunder on the selector's part, I think.
Yeah, back to Ashwin. That's a really big point that you made. Thing is, the rule in England, you don't really have two spinners in your team. It's always the one spinner that you know. That even England that goes with that. They always go for one spinner because they know it's a fast track, it's a bouncy track, it's a pace attack that you need. So would you have dropped Jadeja and have Ashwin in your team, or would you have gone for Jadeja and Ashwin both in your team? Because it's a very difficult decision to make.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
It is tricky.
And you got the left hand, right hand combination you have to worry about as well, because Jadeja is a left hand player.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have dropped Jadeja. I think. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Do you think he would have dropped Umesh Yadav for Ashwin?
But then you need that pace attack. That's the thing. Otherwise, you need fast bowlers in your team.
You do, but he's not really paced though, is he? He wasn't bowling that quick. He's not Mohammad Siraj or Shami.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that accurate, and I don't know, man.
He went for a lot of runs.
This might be a debatable thing to say, but I think I would have picked Ashwin ahead of Yadav, just for the experience and the batting that he can bring as well. But yeah, bro, what else is there to say about this?
It's a lot of talking points. I think a lot of people are frustrated. A lot of people are down from what they saw. You know, it was a packed stadium for 5 days. We just expected a better fight. Where do you think India lost it? Do you think the first innings deflated them a lot? Do you think, Australia getting that big score, that must have really deflated them? And then knowing that India couldn't even get close, do you think they gave up when it came to second innings? Is that what do you think really happened? Knowing that...
I wouldn't say he gave up, but it is what it is. I mean, you know that the records speak for themselves. It's near impossible to chase down that big a target. Psychologically on the final day, generally you are going to panic and you're not going to play as freely as you would in the first innings. All these things together. But yeah, again, I think that Smith and Head partnership, they just got way too many runs. We weren't able to contain them. And I think that's where they won the game, to be honest, because we really never got back on it. If you think about it, apart from a session or two, we weren't ever in a position where at least we had like a 40-50% chance of winning.
Yeah.
It was always like, all right, we've got a 15% chance, 10% chance. This morning I woke up and I thought it was a matter of pulling off something incredible and hoping for that and being optimistic for that. But yeah, again, you've got to get your basics right at this level, bro. I mean, even if you and I were batting, we would not have touched that ball that Kohli did. What do you say? We wouldn't have.
No, we wouldn't.
In that pressure situation, you just leave it. You've got to have enough mental, you've got to be resilient enough to be like, look, I'm just not going to touch it, full stop. I don't care how confident I am, even if I'm in form, even if he's just hit a cover drive, let's say, it's just too far out. Yeah, not much else to say, man.
It's the way we collapsed. I think today's, on the fifth day, the morning session, even if India batted the whole day and taken a draw, fair enough, we didn't chase down the total. But even if, we lost wickets in different stages, in different stages of the day, sessions of the day, we could have gone for a draw. We could have inked that draw. We had 7 wickets in hand. And the fact we lost all of them in one morning session, that was this India team really needs to have a look at themselves. Yeah. They need to really think about how they gave it to Australia, how the batting team just let them down, how we gave away 7 wickets in a session. It's just in two sessions we lost the game.
I switched it off after Kohli got out, so I'm not sure. I haven't seen the other dismissals. Because after Kohli got out, it was just game over for me. I know as good a player as Rahane is, it's very unfair to expect him to, I think Rahane played the best.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I feel like whenever, and it's not just in this match, I feel like just generally in the past as well, when Rahane is playing, I do feel it's a pleasure watching him, and also he's one of those players where you do feel like you'd place your faith in him to control himself. You know, I think mentally he's probably stronger than someone like Sharma or Kohli. You know, I think him and Pujara have got that proper test mindset.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, you know, good on him for performing. And again, look, you're talking about IPL. He was playing, look how the way he was playing in the IPL, at the strike rate he was playing at. He's literally reinvented himself. And having done that for 2 months, he's gone back to his old self when the situation dictated that he should.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to play the situation. And he's as experienced as all these other guys are. So if he can do it, then there's no excuse for the other guys, to be honest.
That's very true. And I remember Rahane was the captain when India won over there in Australia in one of the test matches. And, you know, so Rahane does deserve his credit. He did well. I think he was probably India's best batsman in this match, in this final. But it's just to lose it all in one session, morning session on the fifth day, we couldn't even take it down to the wire and just get a draw.
That's what I'm saying. You know, if we would have played for the draw in the end, if we realised it was maybe 100 more needed, and we were like 6 down, 7 down, and we tapped it and we got there, that would have been incredible. Not 100, let's say we needed like 50, 60 more, and we went for the draw. But again, at least take it down to that, like you said, at least take it down to that much and then see how it goes. You know, this was more like, again, that T20 mindset of just going for it. And we didn't need to be that aggressive. If we had just taken it 10, 15 runs at a time, it's a shame. I think with the way Sharma and Gill started yesterday, bro, I thought, you know what, this is going to be very, very interesting, man.
Yeah.
To be 50 for 1 was what was it? I think we were 60 or 80 for 1 or something.
I think it was like 70 something for 1.
Like 2 quick wickets and then downhill. So yeah, we just messed it up big time.
So how quickly do you think India team can put this behind them and now focus on the World Cup and really, really, you know, World Cup at home in October and really, really go for that? Because it's not far away. It's 4 months away now. So I think their focus should be on that and really build a strong team. Do you think the India team is a bit aging now? Or do you think their players are still in their prime or out of their prime?
No, I don't think they're out of their prime. I just think they can perform, bro. We see it. If we see it in the IPL, the fact that they can play their shots. I know Sharma is a bit out of form, but I wouldn't say they're aging. I think it's fine. I believe in these players, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just don't believe. I believe in their ability, batting ability. I just don't believe in their mental ability right now, or just generally. I think we've too many times this has happened where we've tried to go and entertain and not be sensible, and just throwing it away. Losing because of good bowling is fine. Losing because of bad batting is not. So, what do you think, bro? Do you think with the World Cup coming up, what changes would you say we need to make? Whether it's personnel or whether it's training or mindset, or maybe take a break, or how would you go about it basically?
I would start off with players in form. I wouldn't go by name personally. I would drop players that are not, even if they're the big names like the Sharmas and the Rahanis and the Yadavs and the Shamis. I'll personally go on by form. If the player is performing well on good form, they should start. Like I think Surya Kumar Yadav could have gone to this test team and he could have batted well for us. There's Ishan Kishan. I know he could have played wicket. Or maybe we're missing Rishabh Pant. I remember Rishabh Pant is a great test batsman and a great wicket keeper. We're missing him as well. So I think we need to go by form rather than names. I think India's always gone by names, and like you said earlier, the players that they can really rely on. But they've shown time and time, a few times now, that we can rely on them in some games, but not in all games. But in the big crunch games, we can't rely on them. So I think for me, personally, going by form. If a player's not, if a player doesn't perform well in one game, probably give them another chance. If they don't perform well in the second game, then they have to be replaced. I think it needs to be a bit more brutal. I think we can't be nice. We can't be nice to these Indian players. We need to. We're a team. The point of having a team is you have a squad, and it's not like who's better than like this one. It's who's on more form. and whoever's on more form is probably the more reliable player. What do you think about that?
I both agree and disagree. I think experience counts for a lot.
Yeah,
So form, yeah, for sure. It does matter. Like, I'm glad you mentioned Ishan Kishan. I think that he should have played
yeah,
instead of Bharat. I think he's a fine wicket keeper, and his batting would have definitely. Again, this is the thing. So if you imagine if we had come out to bat and we knew that we've got Kishan there, we knew that we've got Ashwin there. Mentally, it would have made a difference.
yeah,
To know that we've got players that can make 30, 40 runs, in the lower order, that does put, take a little bit of pressure off. Whether they would have performed or not is different. Just talking about easing the pressure from the top down. When the top players think that they have to do the bulk of the work, it's never easy to overcome that in your mind. So yeah, I agree with you. I think you've got a bit more of a ruthless approach when it comes to captaincy, and I get it. Just play form. But yeah, we do have this kind of respect for players. Just like Warner was picked for this test team for Australia, for example. They picked that name. They didn't necessarily pick form, and he had a lot to prove. So I think this may be the last World Cup where we will pick names before there'll be a big reshuffle of the Indian team. It is likely it could possibly, could be Rohit Sharma's, end of his ODI career or whatever. I'm not sure. But I think we will see him until the World Cup for sure. He's not going to get dropped for the World Cup, I don't think.
No.
I think I'm a bit more confident in our ODI team because it's limited overs, and I feel like our mentality in limited overs is a little better than it is in tests. What do you think?
I think I agree with you. We are more confident in our ODI game. I think because of IPL and our ODI squad, we really gelled as a white ball team. It's just can we really rely on the players when it comes to the big stage, when it comes to the big final with big pressure? We relied them back in 2011, but we had real world class experienced players then. It seems very different now. We have world class players and very experienced players, but they can't handle pressure the same way the other team did. It's just now like when they come up against the best, when they come up against like England and Australia and New Zealand and like South Africa, and those bowlers, those world class bowlers, let's see how they do in home conditions. I think home conditions will suit them.
It will suit them, but again, it's home conditions and all that pressure, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean,
that's the thing.
We've got amazing turnouts wherever we go. So there's always that pressure because it's always a sea of blue wherever we play, including, this week at the Oval. But yeah, it's just about doing well under that pressure. I think Dhoni really did well in getting the troops, kind of getting everyone together and, creating that environment. I think when you see things like this, you really do appreciate Dhoni even more.
Yeah.
Because he used to make things happen. And, players used to play... They used to exceed their ability under him almost. And I feel like right now we're just playing under our abilities. So... But hey, look, at the end, I do still want to say that we're still number 2. Yeah. We're runners-up, but we're runners-up not in a limited tournament over a few weeks. We've come second over a 2-year period. So let's not forget that. Let's not take away the fact that we got here in the final. I think this is in world cricket, I believe that this is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
More than the World Cup. I think this is the hardest thing to do to make it to the World Test Championship final, and I think it's brilliant for Test cricket as well.
Yeah.
I think I just really enjoyed watching it. It's so fascinating to see the different battles and to see how everyone's mental games are, how people approach the game. I think it's just been a lot of fun, regardless of not winning.
I agree, and I love this World Test Final that they made Test cricket. They revived Test cricket by bringing this final in. It's only a new thing. It's the second time it's happened. But I feel like it makes Test cricket more exciting because when players go out and play Test cricket and they last for like a year before they even get to a final, that they realize there's a real big final ahead, and with a trophy and a big ceremony, so it gives them something to play for now. Before it was just like these mini series, then after that it's done and forgotten. But now there's actually something worth playing for. So it's great to watch. But anyways, thanks Vishak. Thanks for being a host. Thanks for joining.
You, man. I hope that we meet again and we talk again under happier circumstances. Celebrating a win would have been great. But yeah, hats off. Congratulations to Australia as well. They deserve that, hands down.
Well done to them.
And we've got some thinking to do, but I hope that this little break does us some good, and we've got a good team for the World Cup.
Let's see. Next time. Thank you to everyone that joined and listened. We hope to catch you next time.